If you've already joined us, we're just going to give it a couple more minutes for some more attendees to join in. So just hang tight and we'll get started in a few. Okay, we are going to go ahead and kick things off. So thank you for joining us today in the November Crew Control office hours. Your usual crew here today, I'm Kelsey, Senior Product Marketing Manager for Crew Control, and we also have Scott Kavanaugh, the Product Manager for Crew Control, to take us through the demo of all of the new features this month. As a quick reminder, as usual, please use the Zoom Q&A if you have any questions. Throughout the webinar, we will do our best to answer everything as they come in. If not, we have some dedicated time at the end for Q&A. You'll also be getting an email from me with the recording. So if you have any questions, you'll have my email and you can shoot questions to me afterwards if things come up later. And then as always, keep an eye out for our monthly insider email detailing all of our new release notes, and our next webinar will be in January. So just be on the lookout for that. And with that, I will pass it over to Scott.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Some exciting new updates from my team. So today we're going to talk about some updates to billing. So negative invoice item support. You're going to be able to attach invoices as a PDF when you email them out. We've made some slight updates to our contract billing so that it's available for certain situations where you don't have payments enabled. So we'll cover that. As far as our customer record goes, we've made our work history report now supports customer tags, so you'll be able to filter and output those. Job history on the customer record, we've made some improvements, so we'll cover that. For scheduling, shift and auto reschedule jobs, we've made some tweaks there that we'll talk about. Add schedule service categories. You can add those more easier than you ever have in the past. So we'll show that. Finally, we've got some new getting started resources that are available for our trials that are looking at crew control, but also really good information for anyone that's been using crew control. Just highlights certain features for certain conditions for your industry. So we'll cover that as well. And then finally, we're working heavily on a big feature called job worksheets. These are custom forms that you'll fill in, and I'll be able to highlight a little bit of that as we progress through the development cycle of it. And then lastly, we'll do our question answer. So if you have any questions, raise that in the chat, and we'll cover them.
Okay.
All right, so let's jump right in. Get that. Oops. Make sure I get this in the right mode because we're gonna cover up a couple different screens for you. Okay. All right, first off, we're going to cover the billing enhancements that we've made. We're going to talk about negative invoice items. So you'll be able to add invoice items anywhere that's available in crew control. So either on a proposal, the job with billing details, you'll be able to specify that much like a discount, but provide additional different information and use that kind of creatively as you need it as well. Same with invoicing. So when you go to invoice, you could add that negative item as you build that invoice. So that's something we didn't offer before. You'd have to use that discount, either percent or amount across the board. Wouldn't add much detail, and this kind of handles just certain situations where you may need a one-off negative item applied. Next up, anytime you create an invoice and you send that out by email, we offer a way to attach a PDF. So For new customers in trial or recent subscribers, we've enabled that automatically. For customers that have been with us a while, we were not too comfortable with turning that on by default. So if you go to settings, invoice configuration, there's an option to include that with your invoices that you send out by email. And once they send out to your customer, and provide an example here. Hopefully, let me know if you're not seeing this, Kelsey. This is a different window. That email will go out, and below we'll have attached version, a simpler version of that invoice as a PDF. We know that's really important in the commercial space, especially if you're uploading those invoices. Your customers are uploading those invoices into systems automatically. So that's something we're gonna support better. And then next up for billing on a customer record, if you haven't been enrolled to our payments processing system, or if you're a Canadian customer and that's not available, we have now allowed contract billing to be a thing that a feature that is available to you. Um, you'll be able to schedule emailed invoices out. So if your customers are on a monthly contract and there's a set price for that contract or that package, you'll be able to set that up and you'll be able to send emailed invoices instead of having to do that manually. Um, so that's something that we already offered, but just something we could enable for customers in certain situations that it wasn't available in the past. Same with, as always, you can set up a payment schedule that automatically charges payment method on file on a monthly basis. So if you're dealing with a membership or contract billing, that's always been available, but now we've also just offered this. This is going to be available in trials. This is going to be available for Canadian customers or anyone that hasn't been on board of the payments, just being able to send a viewable invoice automatically on a set frequency, either monthly is what we typically see. You'll define that schedule. The invoice will be defined here. So this will be a per items per invoice per building amount. So you'll see that in this case, it'll be a monthly invoice for $150 beginning on this date with no end date. So a nice adjustment on what we already offer today. Just make that available for more folks out there. All right. So next up, some of the customer enhancements. So from our reporting aspect, we're going to navigate to reports, work history. We've added new capabilities around being able to filter by customer tags and being able to output customer tags your with your report when you run a completed work report. So I can target any customers that were on my gold package and see that work history for anyone on a particular package. Again, when you add a customer, you can or if you have an existing one, you can define what tags are available on that customer for segmentation. So this just gives an easier way when you're reporting. We've heard feedback of wanting to target specific customer types when calculating your running your work history reports. Next up on the customer record itself. So if you go to any customer, if you access that record by either clicking into details on the calendar, on the job, or anywhere you have a link to a customer record, we're going to be able to, we're showing more details on that customer. So you'll have a status now when you haven't before of whether it was completed. We're going to show skipped jobs as well on this history and anything in progress. So that gives just a little bit better visibility of what happened in the past. Um, if you've noticed any details on the job times or if the information that was completed is incorrect, you're going to be able to easily correct that from the customer record by accessing the completion info forms. And you can even correct any times that were added, complete it. If it wasn't completed, add, fix, and correct any notes, add attachments if needed. So just an easier way to access the customer's job history and correct it right on the spot. Next up, some scheduling improvements that we've made. So we'll go to a crew-based view here. So this is more dealing with more of rain delays. So our shift schedule option is handling those types of situations where you need to easily and quickly adjust your schedule based on a rain outage is what it's kind of targeted for. But other types of delays you can encounter to need to use this rescheduling feature. So what shift schedule does is shift everything over a day for a particular crew or for all my crews if I need to um, in that type of delay. Um, so what we've made an adjustment so that we include anything that was in progress and not completed, and it gets pushed over to the next day. And I'll kind of show that real quickly. Just a slight adjustment there. So anything that was skipped or completed won't move, but anything that wasn't completed or in progress will now move. Um, Same if you haven't found this feature, we've also have a similar capability with auto move jobs. And what happens with this is that anytime your crew was running behind in the day and wasn't able to complete or finish any jobs, we'll run a nightly process and move those jobs over to the next morning automatically. So their schedule's set up to complete those first thing. We're also made that adjustment to include anything that was in progress. And those will be moved as well. So just highlighting some, I would say, harder to find, very powerful features and a slight adjustment that makes total sense for these situations to happen when they happen. Next up, we've added we've enhanced service categories so that you have a quicker way to add categories on the fly. So when you access the edit categories form, you're gonna be able to quickly create a new category. I'm just gonna do maintenance two here, and I've spelled that wrong. Ow. I'll just do new category. It's just for typing sake here. So I'll add a new category two. Once I save, that'll be added to crew control. So it gives a quicker way to add a new category instead of having to add a category with a job and save the job. That's kind of how it worked in the past. You can same with this capabilities can be accessed from the job as well. You can either add it with the job, or when you select a category, you could add a new one without having to save that job. So just a quicker way to access that form and be able to quickly create all your categories all at once. All right, and then next up, we've went ahead and added a new navigation page called the Getting Started page. Here you'll see a lot of pre-recorded walkthroughs of certain topics, hopefully particularly targeting the industry that are relevant targets to your industry and how your crews are set up, if it's time-based or schedule sequence-based. Highlighting a lot of our most valuable capabilities in crew control. So I would say walk through some of these. Even if you're an existing customer, we know that some of these capabilities you may not have realized we offered. So really cool. You can hide any that are not relevant and get back to them when they're hidden. But we'll be continually finding new topics and adding them here as we as we learn more about our customers and how they use crew control, or as we add new features and capabilities to the system. Same if you're a new customer, we've got a lot of setup tasks, more easier way to access settings to get up and running with crew control quickly. Again, we find oftentimes existing customers that have been with us for years may not know that we have automatic notifications or quicker ways to default your invoices. So there's a lot of things here you might want to just take a look at and make sure you're set up. And that's kind of what we've released in the past 2 months. I'm going to demonstrate a new capability that we're going to offer. I would say I'm hoping by the end of this year. So we'll be talking about this more thoroughly in the January office hours. But with the holidays, anything could be delayed a bit. So we'll see how that plays out. But this is something that's really close to being complete, and we're just going to highlight and demonstrate what we're building now. We're adding a new concept called job worksheets. And what you're going to be able to do, very similar to a checklist template, you're going to be able to create more instructions and procedures for your technicians out in the field or crew leads. So in this case, I've created a basic inspection report for my techs out in the field to complete. I am going to have a Google form-like experience where I can add various types of questions where those are checklist items, whether need them to take photos or fill in job summary descriptions, short answer, paragraph, yes, no questions, specific date times, drop downs, and quantities. So you're going to be able to have a very robust, consolidated form for your technicians to fill in. We still recommend checklists when those make sense to have checklist templates and have your teams check off on those. But these are for situations where you're dealing with a more complicated service and you need more a better, a more concise record of the work that was performed. So from that, once I have a job worksheet created, I'll go to one of my technicians. I'm dealing with an inspection right now. When you edit or add a job, you're going to be able to assign worksheets to be filled in by your team. I already started this, it looks like, but I'll go ahead and show you on a new job when I'm scheduling that out. I can add that worksheet that I created earlier, make any modifications for the name, unassign. I can also assign that worksheet several times and give it a difference. So if you're dealing with a HVAC system, system one, system two, you can spell that out for your team. So once that's been assigned to my job, my technician's out in the field, so I'm going to launch our mobile application. Here I'll be able to see my schedule for the day. I'll click into the job. I'm going to see that worksheet on my job, very similar to how checklist works today, but you're going to see a more robust experience of asks, specific requirements for your technicians out in the field to complete. So I'll just fill in this in for you. Say I've performed step one, step two, step three. I'm going to add some photos. I can add as many as I want from the job. And when all required questions have been completed, I can complete this form. So back on the job, I'll see that completed. And then when I pull back up the administrative side of things, I'm going to see and access this inspection report from the job. I can make adjustments based on what my team has filled in. And I'm also going to have a customer facing presentation of this report that will be available soon to be sent out and emailed to your customers if needed. So we're hoping this will help for more system-based services, having a more detailed customer report that can be attached to invoices or sent out as you complete your services. So that's upcoming. I'm going to review all of this again in more detail. It's a lot to take in. It is a big feature that we're working on. And so we'll go through more of the sending out, the presenting, and attaching to invoices experience on this. But we're really close. If you're interested in being a part of our beta program, you can reach out to us. And that's everything I have to cover. Again, if you need any immediate support, you'll access support from this question mark and fill out a support ticket. For anything that you have an idea or would like an adjustment or change to crew control, you'll fill out a feature request that goes to my team. We evaluate that every week and break them based on what we're seeing for others' requests and the impact it has for your all's business. So I recommend that. And with all that said, I'll leave it up to questions.
Thank you, Scott. We will give it another minute or so for any questions to come in. We haven't had any throughout the webinar. But as a reminder to everyone, you will receive a recording. After the recording has had a chance to process, I'll send that out in an email. And then like Scott said, if you're interested in being part of the beta, you can respond to that email and I can work with Scott to get you on that list and get in contact with you about that. Otherwise, while we give it a few more seconds here, hope you have a great Thanksgiving next week. Okay, it looks like we've got one. Will there ever be an audit feature that would allow us to see which administrator has created, edited, or moved jobs?
I will say there will be. I don't know when. It is a highly requested feature. It is high. It's up there in our ranks. So I'm hopeful. I can be confident it's coming next year. I can't say for sure how quickly we'll get to that, but I will be sure to take your details and tie you to that feature as well. So.
Awesome. Another one, how do you transfer credit card deposits to QuickBooks from Crew Control?
So the way our QuickBooks I imagine this is QuickBooks integration related. So some people run QuickBooks not connected to Crew Control, but I imagine this is, I'm going to assume that you're connected to Crew Control. For this case, when you're connected, they will specify a deposit line item. Yep, yes, that's right. They'll have the QuickBooks line item for the deposits on when they take that when they create that estimate. So they'll specify the line item for that deposit, and when they take it and collect it out in the field, it'll create an invoice in QuickBooks for that deposit. And once that's paid and the work is being performed, when they complete the job and invoice it, that final invoice will have a deposit credit on it. And once they send out that invoice, an invoice will be created in QuickBooks with the reduced by that initial deposit. So you're going to have two invoices in QuickBooks, one for the deposit and one for the final invoice. I hope that answers that question.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, and if Debbie, if you have any like additional questions or need like maybe more clarification, we can also meet one-on-one with you. So just reach out to us afterwards and we can help set something up if you need something more like kind of demo related. Let's see. Okay, doesn't look like any more have come in. So with that, we will wrap up. Thank you again for joining today. Scott, do we have a crew control phone number or support number?
I'd say just we'll email exchange first, and then we'll set up a time. So if you do need a schedule a one-on-one, we can make that. We can accommodate that.
Thank you everyone for joining today. Be on the lookout for my email later this afternoon with the recording. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we will see you in January.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.